Hey there, friends. It's Mark from Men Who Bullet. Thanks for hanging out with me today as we go ahead and just set up our weekly. I'm sitting outside enjoying this beautiful weather that we're having right now, so I thought that I would just turn on my camera and plan along together as we do on a weekly basis. So I actually have a few days off of work this week, but I'm still going to set up this week as normal. That way, if you're looking for some ideas, you know exactly what that's going to look like. So I'm going to set up a two-page spread with 3 columns on each side. Inside of my B5 notebook here, I'm actually going to use this column setup here, which is going to leave one square on either side, and that's going to give me 10 in between each of these as I go across. Now, as I mentioned, I have this awesome Uniball Jetstream. This is a 4-and-1 pen that we have here, which is super cool because it has 4 colors and also a pencil. And that way, if you're just looking for a real minimal way to get started, this pen's a great way to do it because you have your pencil and your pens, everything all together, and all you need is your notebook. So the first thing I'll do here is just take my pencil and I'm just going to mark out the spaces that I'm going to need. I'm doing this mostly because I want to make sure that I don't mess up any of my spacing, especially since I'm going to be skipping a square or, kind of that entire column on each side. I will immediately draw over that with pen if I don't pay attention to it. I absolutely know that I would. So I just want to make sure that I'm on point. I also like to make sure and I'm double checking my spacing as well, because that is something else that if I'm not using a pencil, I'll quickly mess up. So I'll go ahead and count across 10 spaces on each one of these and just make a real quick mark. And I always double check myself as I go through, because as I'm counting, like this one right here, you'll see that was off a little bit. Okay, yeah, no, we need 10, not 9. There we go. All right, so we'll fix ourselves here and erase that little mark so we know what we're doing. When I do the other side, I'll make sure that I count a little bit easier. With dots and squares and everything like this, it is really hard to see sometimes. So I'm actually just going to move my ruler down my page just a little bit to just kind of give myself enough space. I'm not really counting any specifics here. I do know that I want to have a split over on the Saturday and Sunday, so I will kind of think about it and give myself a good amount of space here. I don't need a whole lot though. I need to leave space also at the bottom for notes, just a way that I like to work inside of my bullet journal. The next thing I'll do is I'll just create an extra header when I'm counting over on the right hand side to split the Saturday and Sunday the right way. I need to just add an extra square here at the top, and I'll go ahead and just draw them out in the same shape that I have. I'll use each one of these for the date and also the day of the week that's going to be inside of these. So I'll just set them up now and then I'll fill them in later. Now that I have the top of my page set up, so I'm just going to draw a rectangle real quick, and then I'm actually going to create the same 1 square height for the header across the top, where I'll just write notes. So everything will match from a standpoint of what it looks like, and I'll just put whatever type of information inside of there that I actually need. So if you don't want to use these for notes, but you want to use this for something else, you absolutely can. You could also split this box in half if you wanted to. Make this whatever you need it to be. For me, just a big old box just to put a bunch of notes inside of. If you want to do this, and this is totally up to you, I'm actually going to also add in a tracker here underneath my headers for each one of these pages. And I'll do this all the way Monday through Sunday. There's 2 things that I usually like to track in my bullet journal that I actually keep up with. One is water intake and just general hydration. And the other thing is I love to track sleep. I think that sleep directly correlates to how you feel throughout the days. So I definitely want to make sure that I'm getting enough sleep and enough water. So what I'm going to do, because this is 10 spaces across, I'm going to focus on just an 8. 8 glasses of water throughout the day and then 8 hours of sleep. That's kind of normal for me. Not 8 hours of sleep is not normal for me. It's more like 7. But I'm going to shoot for a goal of 8, which is just going to bed a little bit earlier for me. I probably won't hit every single day. I'm not that worried about it, but I do really like to track these things, though. It's fun without going overboard. So what I'll do is I'll actually take each one of these squares and I'll split them in half just diagonally. So the left-hand side or the top of each one of these squares will be blue. That'll be for hydration, and I'll mark that off every time I drink like a big cup of water or have anything that has more liquid than like coffee, for instance, in it. And then on the bottom of each of those squares in the red, I'll go ahead and fill those in for hours of sleep that I got that day. So now that we got that set up, I'll go ahead back in with the black ink and we'll fill out the rest of this page and ink everything in. And then we'll go ahead and add in our details in just a second. It's rare that I use a lot of different colors when I'm doing these type of more minimalistic or simple spreads, but since this pen has the green built in, why not use it? So I'll use that for all of the headers. What I'm going to be doing is skipping 2 spaces on the left-hand side of each of these headers, and that's where I'm going to put the date in. And then when I move over those 2 spaces, that's where I'll put in the days of the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then also a Saturday and a Sunday. In the bottom here, I'll just go ahead and write in notes, and then that's where I'll put all of my notes. Again, whatever you want to use this space for is up to you. You're just going to write in that header name for yourself. The last detail that I'll add here at the top is just going to be for the month that it's in. So this is the month of June, and I'll go ahead and add in some extra details later on when I put in my dates. I like to do this just from a simple fact that as I go through my bullet journals, it's nice just to kind of know like when that was. I'm not so big on like timekeeping necessarily, like month to month or which week it is, but just knowing the general, it is June. This is the span that I have of this week. That's good enough for me. I'll do a really quick just bubble letters and just add in some diagonal lines for here. You can do whatever style you want, of course, inside of your bullet journal and for your page. Again, have fun with it. That's what I love about fonts and things like that, especially for a more minimal type page, is you don't have to do anything nuts or any type of crazy lettering. You could do some bubble lettering, or what I like to do is like the uppercase and the lowercase letters, or big and small. That's a really great way to add some visual interest to your page without going overboard. So here we have the entire week set up, Monday through Sunday here, 3 days on the left, and then we've kind of got, 5 over on the right. We just split that page in half. I'm going to use Monday since I have it off just to kind of take all of my migration from the previous weeks onto this page and just set them up. But otherwise, we're good to go. Thanks for hanging out.